Welcome back to the channel. Look what we have here. Our newest acquisition is a Craftsman table saw. Cast iron top, I'm guessing late 80s, early 90s. Let's get into it. Okay, so first let's just take a meander around this guy. See what looks pretty clean. Get some sawdust on it. Get you in down here so you can see what it is. 10-inch table saw. It's got the plastic handle. It's got the separate switch for the motor, which I like. Cast iron table. It has a sheet metal extension. That tells me it's probably early 90s. It has this type of fence. There was 100 different types of fence on these. This one's the angle iron one. If that means anything to any of you. It's got its stand. It's got nice feet on the stand. Good stand. Here's the back of the fence. Again, piece of angle iron. Motor, guessing 1 horsepower. That does not look like the 1.5. It's got the splitter or the riving knife. I guess this one's a splitter because it doesn't go up and down with the blade. Belt, rusty and dusty in there. Let's see, we got along with the fence, we have the miter. And we get down here to the data plate. Yeah, normally these 2 digits are the year that it was made, so this one's 1990. There's probably as many exceptions to that rule as there is things, saws that adhere to that rule, but it's probably a 1990. So newer than what I'm used to. It's only 35 years old as of the date of this video. Well, let's get into the teardown. It doesn't run right now, so let's tear it down and see what's up. Okay, let's start. We're going to remove the miter here. We'll probably take the fence off, right? Slide that off one end. Let's loosen her up here. Slide her off. A little sticky, not too bad. I'm going to take off this. There's a thumb screw here I'm loosening up. Will allow me to get the blade guard and the riving knife, and also has the anti-kickback guys here. Take that off. Oh, is that like a Diablo blade on there? Can't tell. The motor is hinged, so it just lets the weight of the motor hold the tension on the belt, so we can take that off. And this motor, we're gonna need to juice those up. There's 2 bolts here. I'll get you in. Okay, so there's 2 bolts. There's one here, and there's one it's hard to see back over here. This is where I took the riving knife off of, or the splitter, sorry. Those look like 1/2 inch to me. And there's these 2 rails that go into this trunnion here that lets you put gross tension on the belt. You move this in and out, and then, like I said, this guy here, you can see, that'll put your tension on the belt for the last little bit there. And these are just gross, depending on how big yeah, 1/2 inch. Stuck a little bit, not too bad. This one obviously is not the right bolt because it's too long, because it's right up against that other trunnion, so that's about as much as I'm going to be able to back that off. Let me get the cord unhooked here. Okay, so that if she decides to come off, all right, I'm going to lift this with my knee. Oh yeah, she's coming. There we go. That juice is doing its work. There we go. And motor is off. Okay, so there's the motor and the motor mount, I guess. Let's see what we have to say here. Here's a 1 horsepower, 3450. It is a ball bearing motor. Good, a lot of these came in sleeve. This one comes in ball bearing. It's also reversible here. And it can run on either 115 or 230. Good motor then. Good motor, we'll set that aside. All right, now let's pop off the blade here, just a screw. And they normally have a clip in the back, so you can't just pull it straight out. Geez, how long is this screw? Okay, you don't want that guy coming out. So normally you gotta lift her up and pull it forward. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, there's that clip I was talking about right there. So don't just try to pull it up, you'll bend that clip. You gotta pull it up and forward. Just for safekeeping, we're gonna put this screw back in here. All right, blade. It's not a Diablo blade. The blade is not a Diablo blade. It just kind of looks like one. There's numerous ways you can do this. This one does not. Some of them have an Allen head screw in the actual spindle. This one does not. Let me get you around here. So if you look right down here, there's that brass deal, and these sometimes are... So all I did was put this block of wood here to jam it so that it wouldn't turn, and then I put the wrench down there, and it is a standard right-hand thread. So radial arm saws, for instance, mostly have left-hand thread. This one has a right-hand thread. These are kind of hard to come by, so don't lose those. Blades coming off, and the stabilizer. I'll do both. Okay, so that looks like a brand new blade. Sharp, ouch. Okay, so we'll put this in the pile of good parts. All right, pretty dusty down there. Okay, the next step is usually to take off the top. And that is generally held on by about 4 bolts. There's one in the corner here, 2, 3. Oh, it's missing one back here. This one looks like it's held on by 3. Those are 9/16 they look like. Let's see if I can get to that. Before we take off the top, because of the controls that go through the sheet metal sides, we could take those off and then just lift that off. Let's do that. Okay, we'll take off that and that. So here's what the inside of this thing looks like. And as you can see, we have one of this threaded rod here for angle, and we have a threaded rod up in the front here that is blade height adjustment, and those go through the sheet metal housing. So what I'm going to try to do is take off the 3 bolts, there should be 4, but someone's been in here monkeying with this, that hold the top on. Then I'll have to separate these 2 threaded rods from the sheet metal housing to remove the top and the trunnion and adjustment mechanism all in one fell swoop. So we'll get to that. Okay, so I took out the 3 bolts holding the top here to the sheet metal frame. Now I'm going to take off these guys. It's already loose, so I can probably finger. Okay. Don't care for the plastic. And then we can take off these guys. I'll bet they got just a little C-clip on the back side. I'm trying to do this one-handed so you can see what I'm doing. It probably feels like it's just spinning on the other side. I'll have to check that out. Okay, let's go around here. And get this guy off. He's a little tighter. There we go, broke him loose. Again, one-handed. Okay. Should do it. All right. Come on. There we go. Okay, so he'll probably come out. I can get this guy out. This other guy looks like he's locked on there. A couple of circlips. Let me take a closer look. Okay, a little bit of behind the scenes action here. These two guys, this guy and this guy, had a screw with a nut on the other side. That nut is a 5/16. So you put a wrench on the back of them, you get a screwdriver on this side, and you take those two out. That releases this. Same thing over here. Okay, now those two are released so that top should come off. As I look at this, I'm going to want to move the top that way and backwards. So I'm going to go to the right and to the rear, and then I should be able to lift the whole thing off, and it's going to be pretty heavy. Right, rear, there we go. I'm going to lift this off and set this on the table over here. All right, success. I have removed the top with the trunnion and all the mechanisms, and it's heavy. When you're working alone, sometimes you gotta take one for the team. So now we can at least see everything when we're working on it. First thing I'm probably gonna do is blow this off with some compressed air. Okay, now we can see what we're working with a little better. This was the blade up and down that I had to release from the stand. This over here was the angle that I had to release from the stand. You can see this little ball joint here, and this sheet metal piece was retaining that ball joint. So now we can take all this stuff down. First of all, let me give it a quick look over. This all looks to be in pretty good shape. There's no teeth missing. Hasn't been greased or oiled forever. This ball looks in pretty good shape over here. Arbor's got just the tiniest bit of wiggle in it. Back and forth, I can just barely feel it. So if I were going to do a full rebuild on this, I would replace those bearings. I got this saw for free. Facebook Marketplace, somebody's getting rid of it. So I don't think I'm going to replace those bearings, but just because, you know, maybe somebody has one of these saws that has some sentimental value to them, or, you know, they really like it or whatever, I'll just go over real quick how to do that. You know, maybe I'll just do all that in here just so you can see it. But this all looks to be in pretty good shape. This is heavy cast iron here, okay? So that's a solid stuff. That's a solid piece of kit right there. We do have some die cast stuff up front here and die cast stuff back here, but that never moves. So that's a fairly solid chunk of steel there. I can see some grind marks here. Someone's been into this thing here before. So I don't know what we'll find. I'm going to juice up every fastener in this thing. I'm going to juice up this one and this one. Back there, here, here, here. This guy's rusted. That guy. This guy's pretty rusted here. Up here, I got some there. These guys are horribly rusted here. There, that's every fastener I, oh, wait a minute. Those guys were already pre-juiced when I took the motor off, so. that is every fastener I can see on this thing being juiced up. So I think what we'll do is we'll take off this whole assembly here. Again, it's probably 9/16. And it's probably pretty tight, so I'm going to use my drive to break them free. 9/16 it is. Go free. It's really loose. That's what makes me think someone's been in here before. Yeah, those are pretty loose. Someone's been in here before. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, this whole thing should come up. Oh, we got one more. Sorry, we got 2 more. I might be able to get this guy with an extension. Otherwise, I'll have to use a wrench. Let's try the extension first. Let's try if I just come in from this side here. There we go. These guys are just not very tight. I don't know why. None of them were. I mean, I realize this is cast, that is die cast. You know, it's what some people refer to as pot metal, but still, it should be tighter than that. That one, I had to put the wood to a little bit. Still putting the wood to it a little bit. What's going on here? Okay, yeah, so the whole thing's coming out here. We can get a little better look at it, maybe. Here you go. That's the main guts of it right there. You can see this will raise the spindle up and down. This one over here will tilt. Right here is the pivot point. Right here and here will tilt the whole assembly this way. It's a pretty good system. This is the lock. That'll just lock it down. So pretty good system. It is all cast iron, so it's not, you know, as cheap as some guys would have you believe. Let's get into pulling this guy off. If he's, what is he? 5/30 seconds. Let's see if it's 5/30 seconds. Bet you it's good. No, it's 5/30 seconds. And he was loose too. Jeez, what is going on here? And I didn't juice him. Okay, that's on me. I'm going to see if I can just pry that guy off. Looking at the corrosion, maybe not. I might have to get the puller on that guy. Let's just see. The video not getting too long, I'm not. And now I am. I didn't want to. Didn't want to use the puller, but he's making me. There we go. Don't lose that key. It's a half moon key. That's a little weird, but all right. So now we have 3 screws. Use my vintage Craftsman screwdriver. Use my vintage Craftsman screwdriver. These guys are tight. I don't want a little bigger screwdriver. There we go. There's one. I'm pushing down and it's really hard while I'm turning. There's 2. There's a sheet metal retainer here that's what these things hold on. 3. Here's that sheet metal retainer I was talking about. And there are the bearings right there. Okay? So there's going to be 2 of them in here. There's going to be one on this end, there's going to be one on the other end. Should I be using a puller on the other side and pulling them? Yes. Is this going to get stuck on the shaft? Yes, because of the corrosion. Yes. Do I have to go out the other way? Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to clean that up with some emery paper just to make it slide easier. Alright, so I just sanded and up the outside just to remove some of the corrosion. Now I'm just pounding it through. There we go. So here is the spindle. You can see they had another clip keeping him on the inside. Right, here's the ring for the outside. So this bearing was sandwiched in between these two. Here's the other bearing. This guy's just got the tiniest amount of wobble in him. So if you, and you can see there's another clip right here. So if you were doing a complete teardown of yours, you'd pull this bearing, and he's, I guess I could pull him right out, I think. Let's see if I can just tap him out with an extension here. If I can get him out there straight. Interior bearing puller would also work here, but he's coming out pretty easy. I'm just doing it by hand. There we go. And yeah, I can feel just the tiniest bit of wobble in this bearing. So this bearing I would replace. This bearing, this piece all looks turned. This is all turned from one. So this bearing, we'd have to undo this clip here and then pull it off this way. Okay, so he's off. We can pull these out and check the rotation, I'm sorry, the angle. Look through here. So these are held in just by this screw and spring tension because you don't want it tight, otherwise it would never be able to, you'd never be able to set the angle. And if you look up here, this one is held on, well, this is bent by the same kind of deal. I'm going to have to unbend this guy. Just a screw that goes in there and it tightens him down. So I should be able to tap him off now. Wow, plenty of sawdust in there. There we go. And so we'll grease up this track right there and we'll see where this guy, oh yeah. Look, just the thread on the end is bent. We'll have to take care of that. So what I'll just do is I'll put a couple of nuts on here because I don't want to mung up the threads. I'll put that in a vise and then just bend this over. All right, what else we got here? We can take off this other side. What size does that look like to you? 7/16 or half? I'm going to go with 7/16. Let's see if I'm right. I'm wrong. 3/8. 3/8. Okay, so how tight you tighten this guy down will determine how much force you have to use to turn it to change the angle. Okay, that's that guy right there. Notice the fiber washer. And we'll pound this guy off. There we go. And we will, of course, lube that up to within an inch of its life, too. All right. I did want to show you this, too. You can see these are the 2 screws. There's one here and there's one right here, if you can see it, that lock the motor in for the gross adjustment of the motor. And if you look at this guy, he's actually topped out against this riving knife or splitter attachment here. So we need a shorter bolt here, so we'll do that. And then it has been my experience that this, you'll never have to touch this stuff. This stuff is all cast iron, and it's got some machined ways in there that are all real nice. Worst thing you can do is, or the best thing you can, clean it and lube it. That's what I am going to do. Again, because of the video, let's just take everything all the way down. So let's get these two guys over here so we can shorten that bolt. All right, what is that? Half inch. Inch. And this guy, of course, is in the way for the other one, so we have to use a wrench. And he's going to be tight all the way in. So we'll be here for a day doing this. Yet. I don't know why I'm talking where everything sounds like a question. Probably because I'm bored, unscrewing this bolt. Of course, they needed 1,800 full turns in there because, you know, this is subject to a lot of stress. I'm saying that sarcastically, it isn't. Still can't do it with my fingers. There we go. Okay. Slightly faster. There we go. Okay. Now these two guys can come out. Good candidates for the wire wheel. Good candidate to get shortened up and then to the wire wheel. Alright, where are we at next? Man, I'm getting messy here. Let's clean up some of this stuff, or at least push it out of the way. Looks like a clip that retains them right here. This guy's retained by one of those clips. Let us remove that clip. Okay. Clip is removed. Boy, I sure like those clips better than the other ones. They come out easier. That did the trick. There's just a little lip right there where that ring was. Must have been a raised section. Yep, that's all there is to it. It's just a little toothed washer that you pry out. That's it. Okay, so now I should be able to unscrew this guy all the way, right? And once I do, I should be able to pop that guy out. Screwed all the way. Pop this guy out. There you go. Another machined piece. Ooh, with a little burr on him I can feel. Ouch. Alright. This last one here. This is just the pointer for the angle. And I probably should have took this off a long time ago so I didn't bend it all up. But it's meant to be bent for some fine adjustments when you put it all together. Okay, this is this whole thing taken down. There's no other part I can take off of this thing. If I wanted to, I guess I could press this pin out of here, but there's no point in doing that. So there you go. That is down as far as it can be taken. So what am I going to do? Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire wheel this stuff. All these teeth look really good. These look really good. There's no flat spots. There's no broken pieces. Nothing. So I'm going to wire wheel it. I'm going to grease it up, and I'm going to put it back together, I guess. Okay, like I said, I got to shorten this bolt up, so that's what I'm going to do. Old school today, no angle grinder. I'll use a grinder to get the end of that though. And as I also told you, you can see this guy's bent. This is the adjuster. Look at him, he's bent. He's got Peyronie's disease. Alright, so I'm going to screw a couple of these guys on here. Bentcarrot.com, by the way. If you don't get that, that's okay. It's not that funny anyhow. Okay. And I can see that he's at an angle like this, so I'm just going to hope that he doesn't break. And I'm going to bounce him a little bit. Back to straightness. Getting there, getting there. That's pretty good. And like I said, I put those nuts on there to protect those threads when I put it in the vise. So. Alright, for this part of it I wanted to show you, I have some just grease here, and I'm greasing this guy up. You can see he's got some rubber grommets there. So he's going to slide into here. I'm going to start him on those threads, and this is kind of weird because you can think of it as a left-hand thread, right? I'm putting this in here, and I'm loosening it, i.e. spinning it counterclockwise, but it's pulling it in. It's pulling it in. You can see it's pulling it in here. So what am I doing? I'm getting it, so I'm going to put on that clip. Okay, and that's one of these guys. All you got to do is press them on or hammer them on. Go. And now I can continue to spin them until he bottoms out, and I can see the other side here now too. Right? So now he comes out, and I'll get this guy in there. Okay. So now I spin him out, and he exposes where I took this guy out with the splined deal there. So let me screw him down to where he's supposed to be. Okay, right about there. Now he goes back in. Bottomed out. Now, as I recall, there's another one. There is this cover right here. Okay, that locks those two together. He goes on, the pound him on because he's a little too tight for my fingers. It's gonna end up working. Okay. That's awesome. He's on there. All right, another thing I wanted to show you was these guys. I wire wheeled these guys up really good. I got grease in my hand so you can't see how shiny it is, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm also gonna put some grease right on here. I got this also, the mating surface wire wheeled also. And some of you may say, well, grease is just gonna attract sawdust and it's gonna get all gummed up. It has not been my experience that that's the case. So it may be that, you know, over the years that might happen, but it has not. That has not been my experience. It just doesn't get in there very much. These guys, I'll show you. These guys fit nice and tight. If I can prop this guy up somehow so that I can show you. And then I'll put him on here. Looks like. And as you recall, this was that spring-loaded guy right here. And this determines how much spring pressure, how hard it will be to turn it. I'll just tap her down a little bit. And the guy at 3/8, I think it was. Right? Yeah, yes sir, 3/8. There we go. Okay, I think we can put this guy up here. And set up right there, we go. Okay, as you recall, where is that? Jeez. Oh, this guy here with the spring goes on here, and that's what retains that front one. So now there's just, you can put these guys back on if I line up all those bolts. It's important when you're doing this. Don't even snug the bolts down. Get them all started before you even snug them down. Okay? Get them all started, otherwise you have alignment issues. I don't know if you can see this, but you know, this is a casting, so the hole ends up where the hole ends up. And there were 6 of these. Was that tight one? I want to get him down as far as I can. There we go. And there should be one more. There he is. Nine sixteenths, right? It's not 9/16. That is. Gonna do these like head bolts, crosswise. And I'm gonna get that guy here. This last one needs. The wrench because of clearance issues. Snug them all down by hand. I never torque them to spec with the wrench, with the impact. So who knows how tight that'll end up being. All right, This seems to, oh, that's nice. Okay. Well, leave them in there like that for right now so we can get them on the... So I did want to show you this too, and I got to get my flashlight in here. This is that ball joint right here. Okay, and this piece goes over it and gets screwed through there. You want to grease that up pretty good because that, like I said, is the ball joint, and if that binds, it'll be tough to adjust the angle. Okay, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know the process. 80 grit sanding pad, random orbit sander. I've already painted this, and I did not mask it off because all that'll come off with the sander. It just saves me some time. So here we go. Okay, that'll about do it for this saw. I don't really want to call it a restore, but I'll call it a refresh. They made a million of these saws. Every suburban dad had one, or one like it, or possibly a radial arm saw. And so there's no collectability to them. You know, you can find them, at least where I'm from here up in Minnesota, for free on Facebook Marketplace, or 20 bucks if it comes with a blade. They're good saws. They'll work if you know their limitations. You know, it's not a $5,000 cabinet saw, you know, but if you know your machine and you set it up right, it'll get the job done. Maybe, you know, it's fine for a guy that's doing it part-time, doing hobbies, doing projects, doing whatever. And if you're more than that, if you're a professional woodworker, you know, it'll do the job until you can afford something better. There's nothing wrong with these saws. You know, they're a little underpowered, the fence is a little, you gotta watch it and things like that, but nothing that can't be overcome with just, you know, a little bit of care. So, if you like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, give me a comment, ask me a question, do whatever, and we'll go on to the next one. Thanks so much for watching.